What is good with y'all? In this video, we got to be checking out the world's most dumbest criminals. I know this video about to be funny because I seen some dumbass people in real life. I seen it with my own two eyes.
Who doesn't love a good story about a criminal mastermind pulling one over on law enforcement and sticking it to the man? Well, for every one story of a brilliant criminal getting away with their audacious
look at his eyebrows. Yo, why his eyebrow on top of his
crimes, there are countless other stories of truly dumb criminals failing spectacularly at their attempts. A homeowner in Johannesburg, South Africa returned home to find their house ransacked and their valuables missing. They immediately called the police to report the burglary, and an officer arrived shortly after to take the homeowner's statement.
Damn, hold up, whoa, wait a minute, wait a minute now. Listen, I know this is an animation, but hey, she swing my way.
To take the homeowner's statement, the officer settled in onto the sofa and the homeowner took a seat directly opposite the officer to begin recounting how they discovered that they'd been robbed. Just as the homeowner started to give their statement, they noticed something was out of place. There, under the very sofa on which the police officer was sitting, was a strange man, clearly trying and failing to be invisible. He was laying there flat on his stomach, half under and half behind the sofa, with his head right behind the police officer's legs. It turns out that the homeowner had arrived home before the burglar had a chance to flee, and he'd been hiding under the sofa as the homeowner called the police and waited for them to arrive.
That's a real king right there. Peep this. My dude, the ass was so fat. This dude stayed there to look at that joke one more time.
He was immediately arrested. The homeowner's valuables were returned intact, and the police had a rare open and shut burglary case in the bag. If you thought hiding under the couch was a dumb move, wait until you hear about the Goldilocks burglar. In 2014, Martin Holtby and Pat Dyson, a retired couple from Lancashire, England, returned home from a holiday to the surprise of a lifetime. The first sign that something was amiss was the fact that their mail was not sitting on the welcome mat, and their house was clean. Suspiciously
so he stole her mail?
Pat clearly remembered that the house had been in a state of disarray when they rushed out the door to catch their flights. The sink had been full of dishes and their kitchen was a mess, and yet when they arrived back home they found a tidy kitchen and clean laundry in the dryer. Had someone cleaned up for them as a welcome home surprise? Not exactly. The couple made their way upstairs to the bedroom, and there, fast asleep in their bed, was a strange man. They quietly snuck out of the house and called the police, who arrived quickly and arrested 28-year-old Lucas Jonowski. He'd been living in the house for days, cooking himself meals and washing his dirty underwear. He had even bought groceries and cleaned up the mess left behind by the couple. The couple would later learn that the window cleaner had seen the burglar in their home, but assumed he was their grandson, since he had appeared to be quite at home in their place. The burglar admitted to his crimes and was given a 2-year conditional discharge and a 200-pound fine. None of the couple's valuables were missing, though Miss Dyson did note that the burglar had burned out an old saucepan.
I wouldn't give no years, give 200 pounds of that green.
Working with videos can be
and chill, bro.
Frustrating.
Fuck.
Luckily, UniConvert.
That happens. The Goldilocks burglar may not have been the brightest of criminal minds, but at least he was courteous. The same can't be said for these dumb criminals. In the summer of 2012, two drunken Welsh tourists made quite the splash at Australia's SeaWorld. 21-year-old Rhys Owen Jones and 20-year-old Kerry Mules decided to take their vacation on Queensland's Gold Coast to another level. After indulging in quite a few drinks, they decided to break into the SeaWorld's park for some after-hours fun. They left a trail of destruction in their wake. The pair vandalized the park, jumped into the water, and swam with the dolphins, and set off a fire extinguisher in the shark enclosure. After having their fun, the couple decided to take home a souvenir, a real live penguin named Dirk. When they woke up in their hotel room hungover and confused, the pair tried their incompetent best to care for Dirk, putting him in the shower and feeding him scraps of food. After their hangover subsided, Rhys and Kerry realized how stupid they'd been to take the penguin, so they thought that the best course of action was to release him into a nearby canal, where they were spotted by locals as they were wrangling the poor penguin at their vehicle. The police arrived and they were each fined $1,000 and sent home in disgrace. Thankfully, Dirk was rescued and returned to SeaWorld unharmed. It's never fun to hear about crimes against animals, but this next dumb criminal should make you feel a little bit better. This thief got more than he bargained for when a simple robbery went horribly wrong. The amateur thief had noticed a parked car with the back windows rolled down and decided it was too tempting to pass up the opportunity for an easy score. He stealthily walked toward the car, and as he passed by, he quickly reached through the back window and snatched a heavy tote bag from the back seat. Little did the thief know that the car belonged to Brad McDonald, a professional snake wrangler, and that the windows had been down because Brad had left his latest catch in the car while he ran some errands. The dumb criminal hadn't found an easy score. He'd grabbed a bag full of highly venomous snakes that Brad had just captured from an underground car park in Sydney. That's what you get for being greedy. If that's not enough of a reminder to be careful who you rob, then this next story might just hit the point home.
I like his
before
drip,
Christmas in
got
2004, Jason Shinkarik's Winnipeg home was robbed. The thieves stole everything from clothing, jewelry, and watches to cologne and electronics. They also stole every drop.
Bro, look at this dude, bro. Like, who are you fooling with this mask, bro? If I go outside and hide my eyes right
watches
now,
to cologne and electronics. They also stole every drop of liquor in the house and even took Christmas presents from under the tree. To add insult to injury, the thieves even stole Jason's duffel bags to carry away their haul. Jason was devastated, but the small business owner knew he had to carry on with his life. So the next day, he went to work at his shop, Ponderosa Trading. That very
What? Hold up. So his buff ass, 70'2", wingspan 80. You feel me? This big ass dude got robbed by these niggas. I think he wanted them to come in there. I think he
Three men in their 20s appeared at the shop looking to pawn a variety of valuable items. When the men placed the bags full of goods on the counter, Jason was shocked to recognize his very own duffel bags. He confronted the men, who ran away. But when the police caught up to them days later, thanks in large part to Jason's helpful and detailed descriptions, they were charged with breaking into Jason's home, as well as 3 other homes in the neighborhood, and sentenced to 3 months in jail. Christmas is supposed to be a time for giving, but some dumb criminals just can't get it right. This one might just be even dumber than Jason's robbers. After a 20-year-old college student in Washington was booked for underage drinking, he spent a lonely night in a local police cell before being released the next morning. After his release from the drunk tank, he was caught on camera attempting to steal gifts from under the Christmas tree in the police department's lobby on the way out. After he realized that one box was empty, one held a box of tissues, and another was a box of tampons, the would-be thief fled, leaving the gifts and wrappings scattered in the station parking lot. Getting caught on camera is definitely one way to get spotted, but the way this dumb criminal got caught will really shock you. Milton J. Hodges attempted to rob a Lowe's hardware store in Orlando, Florida, but was chased out of the store by the staff. The failed thief bolted through the parking lot, ran across a busy street, and jumped a fence to escape capture. But he wasn't in the clear yet. He had landed smack dab in the middle of the Cypress Cove Nudist Resort and Spa. And as one of the only people wearing clothing, needless to say, he was easily spotted by police and arrested. You almost have to feel bad for criminals with dumb luck. But when a criminal obviously thinks they're smarter than the police, like this next dumb criminal, then they deserve what they get. Calgary police arrived at the home of a woman who claimed she'd been robbed. She was
she long as a bitch. Bro, you see how this officer is not interested at all? He's like, yeah,
hysterical as she showed the officers the smashed window where the supposed thief had entered, and she tearfully gave her statement to the police, describing the jewelry and electronics that she claimed had been stolen. Just as she was getting really worked up, her phone rang. It was a French-speaking father, and the officers listened as the woman calmly spoke to her father in French. What she hadn't realized was that one of the officers, Charanjit Maharu, spoke 6 different languages, including French.
Damn! Fucked up this nigga's lineup, bro. Look at this.
French, and that he could understand every word of her conversation, meaning he clearly heard her admit to her father that her entire story was a lie, and it was all a scam to get money from her insurance company with a fraudulent claim. Needless to say, some stolen goods were the least of her legal troubles. Lying to the police is dumb enough, but some dumb criminals just have to take it a step further. 25-year-old Valeri Portlock thought he had come up with a foolproof plan for finding new victims to rob. He had equipped his car with lights and an air horn and would pretend to be a police officer to target his victims. His genius plan fell apart when he used his fraudulent police car to pull over a van in Long Island, New York. When Valeri approached the van, the occupants identified themselves. They were all members of the Nassau County Police Department's electronics squad. Realizing he was in deep trouble, Valeri fled the scene, only to be arrested a short time later by local highway patrol officers who had been tipped off by their colleagues.
Is this the ice cream truck?
Why don't you become a demon as well?
Both growing old and passing away.
was charged with criminal impersonation, reckless endangerment, and fleeing the police. Clearly pretending to be one of them is not something the police take lightly.
There you go, this angry
ass. It may not be quite as bad as impersonating a police officer, but this dumb criminal got what he deserved for pretending to be someone he wasn't. When an Iowa City man realized that his driver's license had been stolen, he was understandably frustrated. After dealing with the inconvenience of replacing it, he went on with his life and thought nothing more of it. That is, until a few months later, when a man showed up at the bar where he worked as a bouncer and presented him with...
And I thought the black dude's hairstyle was bad. This nigga got 3 strings of hair. He got little, what is that? A little baby...
with his own ID to attempt to get in. It was an incredible coincidence and a rare instance of someone getting their stolen license back. Using a fake ID is pretty stupid, but sometimes being honest is just as dumb. In Santa Rosa County, Florida, state troopers pulled over a vehicle for speeding. The car had been traveling more than 25 miles per hour over the speed limit. When officers searched the vehicle, they found a large amount of narcotics, including meth, cocaine, fentanyl, and MDMA. What had prompted them to search the car in the first place? The fact that the criminal had stored their drugs out in the open in bags labeled "bag full of drugs." The occupants were arrested on drug charges, and the police made a tongue-in-cheek Facebook post about the drug bust saying, "Note to self, do not traffic your illegal narcotics in bags labeled "bag full of drugs." Our canines can read." This wasn't the first time the police had taken to social media with snarky comments. The Winfield, Missouri Police Department took to social media to warn the public about a potential new scam in which tricky drug dealers would rip off their customers by selling them...
Yo, that looked like that MMA fighter. Yo, what was that MMA fighter's name? Fucking, damn.
Smaller quantities than what they'd paid for. These dealers would apparently place the drugs on their cell phones, claiming they had a cool new scale app, when they were really just typing numbers into the calculator to dupe their customers. The police graciously invited the gullible purchasers of illegal narcotics to bring their drugs into the police station to be properly weighed. Anyone who falls for that one definitely deserves to get caught. These stories are definitely a good reminder that crime doesn't pay. Although these dumb criminals clearly didn't get the message, at least their stories of harebrained schemes and poorly executed crimes make for a good laugh. If you thought these dumb criminals were entertaining, you'll definitely like this.
Damn. This video was hella interesting. I'm about to be making another video tomorrow. Stay tuned. Peace.